That is Main Street Media, Utah. We're so happy to have you join us. This is the Liberty Mom Show. Liberty Moms are the original Secretaries of Defense. We are the real defenders of the home front. And we are there when it comes to defending our families and our communities. I'm your host, Dalane England. I'm so happy to have you join us. We have an amazing guest with us, another Liberty Mom, Dr. Jen Brown. She is one of the chairs, or I think she's the vice chair, but I'm not absolutely sure. But she's on the Why I Love America committee, and she has an excellent organization that helps to teach about the Constitution, Citizens for the Constitution. And we're really excited to have her join us. But before we do, because we're talking about the Constitution, because as you know, I am sure, the Constitution was signed by our founding fathers September 17th, 1787. And the legislature last year in 2023 passed a resolution, a bill that states that the month of September is Constitution Month, American Founders and Constitution Month. And in that month, we are to learn about the Constitution and celebrate the people who created our Constitution, teach about them, teach about our Constitution, the amazing principles in our Constitution, and really celebrate it and the freedoms that we enjoy and how we are all so very blessed. So that is, I really love that we have the month of September as Constitution Month. So that is something worth noting. And there are so many ways to get involved and things to do. And since we're talking about that, it just leads me right in to just put a very shameless plug in for Freedom's Light Festival, which is September 19th, 20th, and 21st. This year it is at Bountiful Park. You can go to freedomslight.us. That is our website, and you can see the activities, all the things that are happening. On Thursday and Friday, we have thousands of school children attend for field trips. So if you're a teacher or you are in a homeschool co-op or anything like that, and you would like to take your group to Freedom's Light Festival, you can go on there and register. And you can also reach out to our phone number, 801-330-0303. You can reach out there to call or text to get more information if you have any specific questions, and also to register. But there are 45 different activities happening. There's 45 stations where you can really learn about the Constitution, about the founders. We actually start with Joan of Arc, which, as you know, Joan of Arc is from France. So you're probably wondering, why is a French girl at an American colonist event? But there is a reason. And so I invite you to attend and find out why Joan of Arc's there. We also have the Mayflower. We have this amazing reproduction of 1/100th, I think, of the Mayflower. It is right down to the detail. It's really beautiful. And you get to meet someone that came over on the Mayflower and hear their story and learn all about it. It's very fun, very interesting. Then you get to meet founding mothers and founding fathers of the era, the colonial era. So you're going to meet, yes, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, but you're also going to meet some founders that you probably never heard of. James Armistead, do you know who he is? James Armistead, the very first double spy agent for America, friend of George Washington's. Very brave Black man, born under slavery. Did he want freedom? You better believe he did. He knew the meaning of bondage better than most anybody. And he definitely wanted to live free and be free. And this was his chance. So he joined, and he was extremely brave. And what a great opportunity to hear his story from him and hear what he did. And you will be so impressed. You will love him. He's absolutely amazing. You'll get to meet Elizabeth Freeman. Do you know who she is? So Elizabeth Freeman, born into slavery, what an intelligent and brave, smart woman, very committed. What she did, you get to hear her story, what she did, and how she literally changed America. And there's so many great lessons that we can learn from these people who were just absolutely amazing. And they're ordinary people, but they did amazing things. And the things that they did impact us today. So you get to hear from Sybil Ludington. Some of you know who she is. She's a female version of Paul Revere. You'll get to meet Patrick Henry. So amazing. And you'll find him engaging and very touching and also very fun. Lafayette. Most of you know who Lafayette is. You get to meet Lafayette. And he's, again, a good time. What about Isaiah Thomas? Do you know who Isaiah Thomas is? He had the printing press that printed the very first draft of the Declaration of Independence. You not only get to see it and hear from Isaiah Thomas, you get to actually use it. This is an almost exact reproduction, right down to 1/16 of an inch reproduction of the original Isaiah Thomas printing press. But you get to use it, you get to print things on it, and you get to hear from Isaiah Thomas. He is amazing, absolutely amazing. You will love him. So we have Betty Zane. We have all of a sudden Catherine. Sorry, her name. We have Catherine Green, married to Nathaniel Green. We also have Mary Catherine Goddard, who printed the very first copy of the Declaration with the signatures. And there are so many things. You get to make a candle. We have the Cooper. Do you know what a Cooper is? Because a Cooper is pretty impressive. It's quite an art. You think that it's a craft or a skill, but it's really very much a skill with an art, because they make buckets that are watertight out of wood with using no glue and no nails. But they're so tight that you can literally carry water in them, and they hold water. So there's many artisans, a blacksmith, there's a weaver, spinning wheel. There's so many artisans. There's so many founding fathers and founding mothers. It is such a great time. Now, during the school on Thursday and Friday, during school hours, we have schools come, and you can register. It's not too late. If you would like to register your school, we do have a few slots open at 10 or after. And then we also have families come in the afternoons and the evenings. And Friday we have family festival. And so Friday night we have extra things. We have all the other things going, but we have extra things. So you can dress up in colonial clothes, get your picture taken with your family. You can do a go fishing pond where you fish the Delaware River right after George Washington crossed it. And there'll be face painting and just some fun things that will just kind of be really fun for the entire family. We also teach you the principles of the Constitution. And so, there's sitting at a desk and learning about the Constitution in school can be, let's be honest, boring. But, you can also learn the Constitution through fun activities, make it engaging and interesting. And that is our goal. That's what we tend to do at Freedom's Light Festival. We will teach you the principles of the Constitution, but through interaction and activities, so that not only will you understand it better, but you'll retain it better. And you'll go, oh, now I get it. It really makes sense. It's not just words. You can really get the principle of it. So there's, like I say, there's Ellis Island. Don't forget Ellis Island. You get to actually immigrate to Ellis Island, find out what it was like and why it was so important, why people did it, and what were the rules. How did you do it? You get to do that. We have a 24-foot tall mural of the Statue of Liberty. So you really are, coming into the New York Harbor, and there's the Statue of Liberty, and you get to emigrate. So stage shows, music. We have the Sons of the American Revolution. We have colonial soldiers from the Revolutionary War there tell you what it was like, the life of a soldier during that time. 7 to 8 years of being a soldier. Now, everybody wasn't a soldier the entire time, but George Washington was. It was very difficult. It was the amazing sacrifices that they made. So really hope that you will all come. It is free. It is fun. It is engaging. Lots of activities. And we hope that you'll come and enjoy yourself. And we would like to have you. So freedomslight.us is the website. September 19th, 20th, and 21st, 9 a.m. till 6. And then on Friday, it's 9 till 8. Well, till 9 or 10, because we're going to have dancing after. So you got to come and dance with us. Saturday, it's 9 to 3. So remember, if you show up at 4, we will love it, because we will have you help us take it down and put things away. But you'll miss all the fun. You'll get there for the work, but miss the fun. So come in time. Don't come at 1:30 or 2 because you'll be going, oh, I'm so sad. I should have come sooner. So come early enough that you have time to see everything. It takes more than 5 hours to do everything, but at least you'll want to have at least 4 hours to do a majority of things. You probably won't get to everything. So we would just love to have you and hope that you will attend, and feel free to share with your friends and family. But since we're talking about the Constitution, and we will be talking about Why I Love America campaign and the Constitution with Dr. Jen Brown, but I want to kind of set you up for it. So I thought it would be really fun to do like a quiz or do some questions. I don't like to call it a test. Even a quiz isn't a really fun word for it, but kind of think of it as a man on the street, only a man on the radio. Only in this case, it's a woman on the radio. I'm the woman, you're the man or the woman or the child. And I'm just going to ask you, like if we ran into each other on the street and I asked you these questions, would you know the answer? Now, do you think that the people, the citizens who live in America should know more about our Constitution than those who immigrate to America? So in order to immigrate, you have to take a citizenship test. It's 100 questions. So how well do you think you would do? So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I would love to have you write down the answers. Whoever can get 90% of the questions correct, I have a treat for you. So I will give you the number to call in. If you can tell me that you honestly answered them, 90% of them accurately, I would love to give you a treat. And I have things you can choose from. So it's not just one treat. It's like you can have this or this or this. I'll give you an option of things that you would like. So I'm sure we'll find something that you would love to have. So get out your pen and paper, get ready to write down your answers, and let's see how you do. So I'm going to kind of do it somewhat in order so that if you do not know the answer to this question, what I'm really doing is making it possible for you to get out your Constitution, your pocket version or your computer version or your big version, print it on the wall, whatever version you want, but I make it possible for you to, if you don't know the answer, go find the answer, because that's what it's all about. It's not necessarily about you knowing the answer. It's about you ultimately knowing the answer. So I'll ask you, and then if you don't know, go find it, because if you go find the answer, two things. One, you'll remember the answer better. And second, you'll know where to find the answer so you can help others find it. And then the Constitution becomes something that you will enjoy getting into. Okay, so first question, who is it, based on the Constitution, who has all legislative powers? Now, legislative, what does that mean? What is legislative powers? Lawmaking powers. So there's only one body in the government that has the power to make laws. We're talking federal government here, although it's duplicated on a state level in our own Constitution in Utah and every other state. It's still the same, but I'm basically talking about the federal Constitution in this format. So who has that? Where in Article 1 can you find the 20 powers that Congress has? And if it's not listed, does Congress have the power to pass a law regarding it? How clear is the Constitution about that? Here's the 20 powers you have. If it's not one of these, do they have the power to just go ahead and pass laws about other stuff? Because they do. Do they have that power, or is it completely unconstitutional? Next question. What are the three branches of the government? And which one is one, which one is two, and which one is three? So name those three branches. Here's a question you will not find the answer to in the Constitution, but I still want to ask it. It is, where did the idea of the three branches of government come from? And this question I'm going to tell you the answer to. Isaiah 33:22. So I want you to get out your scriptures when we're done and look up Isaiah 33:22, and you will be able to see clearly where the principle or the concept of the three branches of government came from. Okay, where in Article 1 does it say that representatives are elected for 2 years? So find that in there. And then this isn't in the Constitution, because I know you have a brain and I know you know how to use it. Tell me why you propose that the founders chose for the House of Representatives that are elected for 2 years. Why did they choose a 2-year term? Why wasn't it 4 years? Why not 3? Why not 6, like the senators? Why 2 years for the House of Representatives? See if you can, like I say, I'm taking that one. That one is more subjective, agree. All the others most of the other questions are objective, like they're right or wrong. But I will consider your answer on that. I think it's somewhat self-evident, so I don't think it's too difficult. In the Constitution, originally, in Article 1, Section 3, how does it say that we are to elect the senators that represent each state? Next question is, how many senators each state have? Clearly written in the Constitution. But tell me what it says, how we are supposed to elect our senators based on the original Constitution. And yes, we did make a change to that. And it is Amendment 16. And no, I'm not happy about it at all. I like the original Constitution better. Not that you were asking, but I wanted to share that with you anyway, because you're entitled to my opinion, even if you don't want it. Okay, in the Constitution, how does it state we are supposed to calculate the population for each state? Because the population is what determines how many representatives each state has. So in the Constitution, it tells us how to determine that. Very important, because if you remember at the time, most unfortunately, we had 2 states that were pro-slavery. And we did not outlaw slavery through the entire United States because we couldn't make it unanimous because of those 2 states. But we did put some things in the Constitution to make it harder for states to own slaves. But we had to calculate, because you had states with slave populations, states without slave populations, because most states had already outlawed slavery by the time we did the Constitution in their state. And so how did we determine population? This is a really important question. It's really important to understand. And it also lays the groundwork for the next question, which is the 3/5 clause, which is right in the same place where they're calculating the population. And I will tell you it's in Article 1. It lists, Article 1, Section 2 actually lists the 3/5 clause. And I want you to tell me if you think the 3/5 clause is racist or anti-racist. I do not consider that a subjective question, although I will respect your opinion if you can back it up with something, because I think it's very clear. But if you can give me a good argument why you would disagree, then I'll give you credit for it. Okay, Article 1, Section 3. It states which clause, somewhere in that Article 1, Section 3, each paragraph is a clause. So which clause states who has the power to try impeachments? Now, in Article 1, Section 2, it tells us who can call for impeachment, who impeaches. But in Article 1, Section 2, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 tells us who can try, who does the actual trial, the impeachment trial, to remove or not remove someone who is impeached. As you know, several presidents have been impeached. None have been removed from office. And so where does it say who has the power to do the trial and remove them? Okay, according to the Constitution, I'm going to read this part because I think it's kind of important, because I think most all of us are really concerned about our elections, because honestly, if you don't have elections, you don't have a country, you don't have freedom. You can't have freedom if you can't elect people to represent you. And so Article 1, Section 3 states, so weird I underlined it. So it would be really easy for me to find it, so I apologize. Okay, it states the times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. So the time, the place, and the manner of elections will be for voting for senators and representatives, which is federal. Those federal offices will be prescribed by each state by the legislature. So that means elections are local. But this is, and most of us know that, so most people are going to get that question right. But Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations, except as to the place of choosing senators. So, did you know that Congress can change that? We have elections are statewide. They're done by the state's power. But Congress has inserted the Constitution. It says Congress may at any time, by law, they can pass a law to alter these regulations. So they could make it federal. So we need to be careful when we think, oh, that won't ever happen. It's not that hard. It's right in the Constitution that they can do it. I don't think it would be that big of a stretch. I mean, some of the things our Congress have passed, my goodness gracious, unbelievable. Because first of all, the people who vote for it, our representatives, haven't read it, so they don't even know. And second of all, they're being told it's going to do one thing and it does another, and they don't know what it really does. And so they're being lied to, and they're being given information that's inaccurate, which is being lied to, and they're believing they're getting sucked in. Okay. All right. So then, next question. Who has the power to reprimand or hold accountable people in the House if there's someone in there that the other body doesn't find they find they're doing something inappropriate? Who gets to hold them accountable? In the Senate, who gets to hold a senator accountable if they find that they're doing something inappropriate, unprincipled? Who gets to reprimand them or hold them accountable? Right there in the Constitution. Okay, there is one time that a senator or representative cannot be detained or arrested while in session, while the congressional session is in session and it's going. They cannot be arrested during that time in the going to it or coming from it. They can't be arrested. They have to wait, either arrest them before they go or not till they get home and land on their soil of their own state. The other is they can't arrest a representative or a senator during Congress, coming and going, except in what are those times? Except what times can they do it? And where is that found in the Constitution? So that's a two-part question. Where does it state that all bills regarding taxation must start in the House? And then you don't have to answer this question, but I would like you to think about why. Why is it that must start in the House? It's not in the Constitution, but the founders made it clear why they did it that way. So you can read that and find the answer to it outside of the Constitution. Okay, in the Constitution, it tells us how much land the federal government may own. So tell me where in the Constitution it states how much they can own, and then tell me how much land can the federal government own in addition to ports and postal offices, postal roads, of course, and other buildings, arsenals, and forts. So in addition to that, how much land can the federal government own? According to Article 1, Section 9, what did the founders do to try to make slavery more difficult? What did they do to try to reduce it and make it harder for anyone to engage in slavery? There were two things that they did. One is in Article 1, Section 9. So I want you to find that and tell me what they did. Okay, Article 3, what is the term of office for a judge? And if you put down there life, then I will mark it wrong. That is not a correct answer. I want you to tell me, according to the Constitution, what is the term of office for a judge, a Supreme Court judge? Okay, what does the Constitution, and this is in Article 3, so that makes it easier for you to find the answer if you don't know it. What does it say about the trial of all crimes except impeachment? All crimes outside of impeachment, what does it tell you gets to happen? It's actually, I would consider it a way of accountability, a protection for citizens, and also an accountability. It's a separation of powers. And I just love it. I love how genius the Constitution is. It's amazing because they really wanted to protect the law-abiding citizen and also make sure the guilty were held accountable, but also got fair due process. So this is kind of a great due process part. Okay, where am I? Okay, in the Constitution, in Article 3, it tells what is the definition of treason. So all you have to do, if you don't know, go to Article 3 and tell me the definition of treason. Okay, Article 4, very short. 1 is really long, 2 shorter, 3 is even shorter. 4 is very short, and it talks about states' powers, because states don't have rights. Rights are given to us by God. The rights are something that are inherent in us. States are created by man. So they are created and be given powers. So what does it say about paying our debts? I think that's an important thing right now. It's a big deal. I wish it talked a little bit more about going into debt, although the founders talked at length about going into debt. The Constitution talks about paying our debts. So what does it say about that? And then what does it tell us about, can a state that is one state, can it just divide itself into two? This is a real question, and it's an important one, because Oregon, you have part of Oregon that wants to not be part of Oregon, and it doesn't necessarily want to be its own state. It wants to actually become part of Idaho. Is that a possibility? But my question is, what does it say about a state dividing into two? California has this situation right now. California has a movement to move California into 2 states or even 3 states, because they're so ideologically different. And the people that don't think like the people that are in power, like the governor, they're like, well, we have a brain and we know how to think, and we don't really agree with what's happening. And so we want to be outside of the powers that are taking the state where in the direction. So we want to go in our own. And so we want to be our own state. So how can that happen? And in the Constitution, it says exactly what has to happen, and is it, if it's possible, and if it is, how they do it. And it is totally possible. So how can that happen? Okay, in 4 still, 4, it's one of my favorite articles in the Constitution. I just love it, especially Article 4, Section 4. Section 4 is huge. Okay, what does it, in Article 4, Section 4, it tells us what every state is required to provide. So there's only one place in the entire Constitution that tells a state what it has to do. Everywhere else tells the federal government what they can do and what they can't do. It's like, these are your powers. This is what you can't do. If it's not here, hands off, don't touch it. But in Article 4, Section 4, it says, this is what a state must do. And it's the only place that tells the state what they have to do. That's one reason I just like that section so much. It's really cool. Then the other part is it also tells what the federal government must do regarding our borders. It says whose responsibility is, and it says what their responsibility is about it. So tell me what it says is the federal government's responsibility regarding our borders. And then Article 5. Article 5 is very short, and it says this tells how we change our Constitution. This is where all the amendments, and I'm just going to give you the answer to this. So how many amendments are there? 27. But how many times have our Constitution been changed? The first 10 amendments are not changing the Constitution, so they're called the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights didn't change our Constitution. It made more clear what is already there. It just clarified it, made it crystal clear. Are we not so grateful that we have the Bill of Rights? We'd be in so much trouble without it. So you can thank Roger Morris and Elbridge Gerry, and I believe Sherman, but I could sometimes I forget, but Elbridge Gerry for sure. They held out. They're like, we're not going to sign the Constitution because there's not a Bill of Rights. And so they really worked hard to make sure we got the Bill of Rights, which took 4 years. But because of that, we have our Bill of Rights. So they didn't change the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. But after that, how many times have we changed the Constitution? And where in the Constitution does it give us the power to change? It's in Article 5. So now I want you to tell me how many ways can you change it? And very, very succinctly, very clearly, there's what are the processes? They're very similar to each other. What's the process to change our Constitution by amending it? How do you do an amendment? It's hard to make the change, but not that hard, obviously, because we've done it 17 times. Okay, Number 6, Article 6. What, according to the Constitution, what is the supreme law of the land? Tell me, what is the supreme law of the land according to the Constitution? And then in Article 6, it also says that everyone that is elected to office and holds a position of power must take a sacred oath. Now, my question is, what do we take a sacred oath to do? Do we take a sacred oath to keep our conscience, to do whatever our conscience says we should do? Is that what we take a sacred oath to? Because look it up and see. I will tell you that is the wrong answer. No, because do people commit crimes but their conscience allows it? They go like, I don't feel bad about that. I'm justified. They deserve that to happen. It's okay. It's all right that I committed that crime or I did that. People, we should be able to go by our conscience. We absolutely should. But that would mean we would have to have a conscience aligned with right, not aligned with justification and rationalization. And that's what we don't know. So that we take an oath of office, our oath. What does it take an oath to do? It's not to abide by our constitutions. So find the answer to that. And then number 7. 7 is very short. It's the shortest article. And it's simply, what does it do? What does Article 7 do? It's very simple. And what does that mean? And then my next question is, how many articles are there? And if you want to just like test people on their knowledge of the Constitution, very basic, is because we're running into election time. And do you want somebody that knows something about the Constitution, that adheres to it, that will adhere to it, that really ideologically adheres to it? You want to ask them some questions about the Constitution. That's why these questions are really important. If you're running for office and you're going to take an oath to the Constitution, should you know something about it? Should you know it quite well? I would propose that you should, or the person running should. And so when you're vetting candidates, one fun question to ask is, how many articles are there in the Constitution? How many are there? If they don't know that, do you think they've studied the Constitution very much? I think not. So that's a pretty simple, basic question. It's also a fun dinner conversation with your family. So those are the questions that I have so far. And I am just checking. This is the thing about starting a little bit early without my guest. And so hopefully she'll be able to find the link and she'll be able to jump right on. We have a really awesome system that makes it super easy. So while we're waiting for Jen to come on, think about, do you have some questions you would like to submit? Because I would love to have them. These are questions that I think are really helpful to learning about the Constitution. And for me, it's not learning about the words of the Constitution. It's very much learning about the principles of the Constitution. And I'm pretty sure that I emailed to the right email account for Jen, but I've been known to send, you have a bunch of different emails. It can happen. Send it to the wrong one. So we're checking to see. Okay. I'm going to give you the bio of Jen. So when she comes on, we'll already have that handled, although it's so much fun. Jen is quite an amazing person. So she was like born and raised in Bountiful, went to Woods Cross. She went to Weber State University majoring in microbiology. And then she went to Nebraska, where she attended Crichton Dental School and became a dentist. So when we say doctor, we're not talking about medical doctor, which it is, but I mean, she's a dentist, that kind of doctor. She graduated back in 2004, which seems like not that long ago. And she and her husband, Mike, they moved back to Bountiful. They have 5 adorable boys. And they are really quite amazing. And they're quite an amazing family, because what's really kind of fun is Oh dear. I did send it to the wrong one. That's the only one I have, though. Okay, we are going to, so I'm going to give you my phone number. If you got 90% of those questions right, call me or text me and let me know, and we will have a prize for you. And then I will bring you on as a guest because I think that would be super fun. If you're willing, of course, I still believe in freedom, so I won't make you. And yeah, we would love to have you on, and we would love to give you a prize. 801-330-0303, 801-330-0303. I would love you to get your constitutions out, answer all those questions, and please remember to attend Freedom's Light Festival. And when you do that, you will feel so empowered. You'll be able to answer all the questions, or a lot of them. And everything else you'll have a good foundation for everything to build onto. And we will love to see you there. September 19th, 20th, 21st. And we will, I'm so sorry. We'll see you then. Have a beautiful day. We'll have Jen on in just a minute.